G'day, welcome back to the channel. Now, as you know, I generally do classical guitar stuff, but there's one thing that classical guitar didn't get me ready for when I was playing all my metal stuff, which I love, and that was sweep picking. So what I want to start looking at for myself is how do you sweep pick? So let's get started. Join me on my journey of learning how to sweep pick. So what is sweep picking? Sweep picking is playing arpeggios, basically. You can add parts to the, on classical, you'd be doing, but when you're sweep picking, you don't want all the notes to ring out like you would on a normal arpeggio. So it has to become separated notes. This is when it gets interesting, because you have to be able to take the notes off as you're going and mute stuff. The technique changes. You don't let anything ring. So let's have a look at the first exercise I'm going to try out. Now, I'm going to take two approaches to getting these up to speed. One is doing speed bursts, which I always love, and the other is that metronome crawl, where you just set the metronome at 80, 85, 90, so forth. But let's just go to the exercise. It's going to be a real easy exercise. It's not tonal. We're not going to do any chords or anything. It's just going to get used to walking up and down across the guitar. And it's also useful just for finger dexterity. Even if you don't want to sweep pick, it's a cool exercise. So, all you have to do is go finger-wise on your left hand, 1, 2, 1, 2. But you've got to do it on a different string every time. So again. And then come back. Yeah, see, it's already been tricky. So the things that you have to look out for here is that bleed. You don't want to hear. Yeah, we don't want to hear that. That's not the point. You don't want to hear nice, clear, separate notes. So you're going to get that through two ways. One is taking your finger off here, but you don't want to have an open string coming afterwards. So you don't want to hear. That open string. So if you're doing thumb muting, which is something I do sometimes, it can help with just being really clean. So trying to keep that hand nice and flowing as well. It's not going to be a separate pick for every single string. That's not going to work, because that's not going to get you any speed. Eventually you just got to just going across, but it's got to be nice and even. As you can see, mine isn't very even at the moment, but just working through that. So there's going to be two parts to it: getting your left hand and getting your right hand. So there's nothing wrong just starting off, getting your metronome going and getting that in time. So let's start with the right hand. So here's the metronome at 80 beats. So we're just going to go in time with it. Clearly, that's way too slow because it's turning into individual picks. So the way that we can start to avoid that is do sort of like a rest stroke. So each time you pick, the pick's going to go through to the next string. So the only thing arresting the development and the movement of your arm is the next string. Let's try doing it at quavers, so double that. So bop, 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 bop. That smooth, divide it again. We'll try triplets. So da 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 da. see, it takes a bit of practice to try and get that. I want to get that smoother even yet, and then I'll get it faster. So that's sort of doing it with speed bursts. So you start off with 1 string for every tick, 2 strings for every tick, 3 strings. 3 strings works out nicely because you get that, there's 6 strings, da 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 da, and you can get it nice and smooth. So doing that, and each time you bump up the metronome, you do more divisions. So let's try doing it now with the actual notes. Okay, so we're still at 80 beats, and we're going to be just doing 1 2 1 2 going across the strings. Okay, and now we're going to do 2 notes per beat. Not that clean, I'll need to work on it, but in the meantime, let's try 3 notes per beat. So as you can see, I need a lot of work on this. So that's it at 80 beats per minute. So my goal for a lot of these is to get them up to 120 beats per minute with all those bursts. So there may even be, or should even be, 4 notes per beat. So it'll be quite quick in the end, which is what you're after. It sounds really cool. So you're obviously not just going to stick with 1 2 for this exercise. Your other combinations are going to be 1 3, 1 4, 2 3, and 3 4. So you'll get. So it's 1 3, then 1 4. Then 2 3, which will sound like 1 2 because it's the same intervals, but different spot in the neck. So 3 4 will sound the same, but be a lot harder because it's the naughty pinky. So let's try again. And then 3 4. No, then 2 4. So as you can see with these exercises, you get the combinations, all the combinations of your fingers. So it's taking away having to think about actual arpeggio shapes yet and just getting the mechanics down. So you'll be able to do the different combinations of fingers, and then after that it's just a matter of they're going to be, it won't be 1 2 1 2 1 2. You'll get like 3 1 2 1, all that sort of thing, you know. So those sort of shapes where you're getting all the different fingers getting involved instead of just 2 fingers. But at first you want to focus on not having any bleed in between notes and just having them nice and separate and smooth, and getting that nice smooth motion with your hand. You don't want to be pluck, 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 pluck. It's not like playing an arpeggio. Now I've already found that practicing these It's helping my general arpeggios because you're getting a smoother motion with your right hand. And it's helping with my left hand because you have to focus on everything being clean. So even if you don't want to sweep pick, these exercises are good for cleanliness and just good technique. All right, well, let's see how I go with this. If you want to find out how well I can sweep pick in the end, don't forget to hit subscribe and give us a like. Cheers. See you next time.